Madam Chair, we are live.
Thank you, Mrs. DeGraw. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. I want to welcome you to our annual organization meeting. We're gonna do this one real quick, and then it'll be followed by our regular board meeting. But first, we will have Mr. Miller lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. The floor will be open for a motion to approve our annual organization meeting agenda.
Madam Chair, so moved.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Did we have any public comment, Mrs. McGrath? No, ma'am. Okay. We will start with the swearing in of our newly elected office or trustee, Mrs. Belknap, and
We
re-elected,
swear you in as well, Mrs. Chair.
re-elected trustee myself. So Mrs. DeGraw, do you want to come up here, or you just want?
I'll just sit here.
Okay.
Mrs. Chair, will you please stand and raise your right hand?
No.
Repeat after me. I do swear
I do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the Office of Trustee
the duties of the Office of Trustee
of the West Jefferson School District 253
of the West Jefferson School District 253
in Jefferson County, State of Idaho, according to the best of my ability.
in Jefferson County, State of Idaho, according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Ms. Belknap. Raise your right hand. I do swear
I do swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Idaho,
of the State of Idaho,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee of the West Jefferson School District 253
of trustee of the West Jefferson School District 253
in Jefferson County, State of Idaho, according to the best of my ability.
in Jefferson County, State of Idaho, according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Congrats.
Mrs. DeGraw.
Congratulations, you guys.
Mr. Williams, you have the board member and election schedule there.
Yeah, just for information. So with the history of this last year, 2026, or excuse me, 25, Tanis for Cherry for Zone 4 and Emily Belknap for Zone 5. So your next term will expire in 2028. That's when our kids are graduation of your second, graduation of my first. The next election cycle for Zone 1, 2, and 3 for Andrea, Chris, and Tyson will be in 2027. Okay.
Okay.
Then I don't know if there's anything
Those
else,
things are just for information.
just for anybody's information as patrons. There's the consolidated law manual and the trustee legal zone descriptions of where we were at. These will not be rezoned until 2030, I'm assuming, on the next census.
Thank you for that. Okay. Next, we will call for nominations for chair to serve for the ensuing year.
Madam Chair, I nominate Tanis Cherry for chair.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? I guess seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Thank you for that. We'll call for nominations for vice chair to serve for the ensuing year.
Madam Chair, I nominate Andrea Rigby.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Call for nomination for clerk to serve for the ensuing year.
Madam Chair, I nominate Carrie DeGraw for clerk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Call for nominations for treasurer to serve for the ensuing year.
Madam Chair, I nominate Julie Hall as treasurer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We will now review and sign the code of ethics for school board members. That should be in your packet.
I'm sure I've pulled this up on the screen in case you want to, as you guys are discussing anything, or if not, let's go ahead and have you guys sign through there. Or see if there's anything.
Any questions or concerns about code of ethics? Today is the 14th. Hey, also in your packet is the board norms. They're just kind of our expectations of one another as a board. And had any questions or comments on these?
These board norms are established by board members, and this would be a time to suggest or amend.
So this one is policy. The other one is just an explanation of some of the things we do.
On what we do.
And so if we make changes on this form, we wouldn't need to do it by vote
On this current one that I have pulled up right
that you
here.
have pulled up. That would not require a first and second read, just our policy.
But this one here. On the operating procedures and protocols.
Anyone have any comments or discussion items on those?
So I have a comment
Would it be on the policy
on the policy.
okay.
So it's referring to policy 4105. And it's about the audience participation. So since that just changed, does that policy 4105 need to change? Not just changed, I think it was July.
It was July.
something? So,
There were some changes on public comment. And so maybe
I don't believe so.
did we have 4105 change?
If we did, we've already voted on it because that would have been on my list to edit.
Let's write that down and we'll double check on that.
Thank you.
That's a-
Make sure that they align.
That, because that's a good point, because if we don't want one policy referring to a policy that's not
so
accurate.
it's 0.6 and 7 that I can see right off that have that policy number in it, just to double check.
I think we already talked about number 25.
Hmm.
Meeting for broadcast.
Audibly. Yeah,
Would be,
that 405 was edited at the same time we did 1500 feet.
Okay,
So it does have that updated information.
okay, thank you.
David, can you say number 25, please?
So we don't do
Oh,
that.
so broadcast doesn't mean video, but with the audio. It's broadcast from audio, yes. And they do have a visual of all of my screen, so they're seeing it. Okay,
Which I think is nice, so they don't have to have two screens, so watching.
yeah, that's actually better, because I'm sure people were sad they weren't looking at people's faces, but no, this is better.
It is, because that's what you're referring to and talking about, so they want to.
Yep. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? The next thing in your packet is the meeting schedule.
The board norms need to be signed or anything, or just where?
No,
It's
just, this is the opportunity for them to look at their board norms and decide if they want to make any changes.
Okay. We have a couple different schedules here. I think just the November
Yeah, so
date.
I'm gonna pull up what
Any
the,
question?
I'll pull up draft number 1, this to be able to show the options, and again,
I believe that one's highlighted in yellow.
I don't see, on their sheets in front of them,
Yes.
that it would be. So as I looked at this with Mrs. DeGraw when we were putting this together, we followed the same format as of the second Wednesday. I know that was a change from previous years, and the discussion behind moving it to the second Wednesday is it allows our business staff, and especially Mrs. DeGraw shares that with the business department and also with clerking, we don't have a school board meeting falling on payroll week. Mr. DeGraw, how has that been
Wonderful.
for you guys?
It has been really good to be able to have this meeting prior to getting into the middle of payroll. And it's allowed us to be more accurate with our payroll.
Board members that have been here, you know, this is Mrs. Belknap. If I ever mess up and call you Mrs. Ball, I'm gonna apologize. Apologize in advance. But,
It'll be fine. It's all good.
has the second one been any impactful negatively to you guys at all? No. Okay, so we'll continue with that, but we did see that November 11th, 2026, that does fall on Veterans Day. And we do have our Veterans Day assembly and activity with our veterans that come in. And so we had one suggestion of if we wanted to keep it on November 11th on that Veterans Day, just to hold our board meeting early so that we are done by noon. To be able to be part of that, or a second draft option presented would be to move it to that Thursday of that week and keep it at the same time at 12:30. So that really is the only difference. And also, if there are any other dates on here that jump out that you guys are like, no, that doesn't work for me. I know we've adjusted our summer start time of June and July to earlier in the morning. That seems to work better for those that are helping on the farms, managing the farms. But that is back to 12:30 in August because we're back into school by that time. So your guys' discussions on preference be from the superintendent and businessman or clerk side, either one would be fine for us.
I don't have a preference.
On June and July, could we move it to 9?
Yeah,
Do
we.
you have a problem with 9?
I was thinking 7.
Um,
I'm good with either one.
So are you suggesting moving this meeting to 9 and the executive session at 8?
Yeah.
You might need to use that gavel to quiet down.
Wanna strike that?
Because this would be the 10 a.m., we would do an hour earlier for executive. So that's why, so technically it is already 9 o'clock.
I'm okay with that.
Do you still want it earlier?
Oh, that's fine.
We would do 8 if that's what you would like on that one. We might have some pushback on 7 o'clock with this. But I have heard of other districts that hold their board meeting in the morning. Just because of, I believe, and I don't know if they still are, but with the previous superintendent at Sugar and the board members that they had at that time, their meeting, I think, was 7 a.m. 7 to, it might be, I don't know if they did, so,
Done.
so it really could
It
be,
is possible.
there's always a possibility.
Eat that frog.
No. What about the November meeting dates? Any,
I think earlier is fine unless it would be easier to move it. I don't have opinion either way, I guess.
I know moving it to Thursday would be easier.
I wondered about that because you have. This last year, didn't you have a lot of community members and everything coming for that? It might be easier for you to be. Anyway,
free and available
free
to
available
help
for that
for
event.
that. Okay. So it sounds like maybe the 12th and doing it out.
Yeah, that's great.
I believe the ISBA conference is the week before.
The 4th through the 6th.
And that's changed every single year, sometimes that first week, but I've seen it.
It falls right in the middle of my payroll and it makes me angry.
I've seen it all 3 different times with that.
So this is actually my preferred week for them to do it.
And it's back in Boise, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
Mrs. Rigby, any preference on that?
On which one?
On the November?
November 12th is fine.
All right, so that would take you back to
Draft.
really
Draft 2.
draft 2. And then I guess we could revisit. Mr. Cottle, any more discussion on?
No.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Well, the chair will entertain a motion to approve draft 2 with November's meeting date being on Thursday, the 12th at 12:30, 11:30 for executive session.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do we need to adjourn to then go into our,
No,
okay,
you just call us. the order.
roll right into our
Mhm.
regular meeting? Call the meeting to order. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Mrs. DeGraw, have we since received any public comment sheets? No, it's weird. Okay. All right, the floor will be open for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Our first action item. Do you have any purchase?
Yes, we do. Yeah, this will be a fun one for us. And we have 3 different things that we're going to talk about on the spending side of it. First one is we have a program called Time Clocks Plus. And that is the program that we track our hourly workers. It's their clock in time. So that's where we take that, we look at their hours, and that's how we pay them. It also tracks employee leave when individuals take sick leave or personal leave. We've had this program even before, wasn't this in place when you came along?
Yes.
And so it was before I was superintendent. This program was developed by a small programmer, regionally, I believe. I know I don't know if it's regional, but a lot of school districts that are about our size use this program. However, it's changing from the way that it was. Initially, we were able to just go out and purchase the product and we owned it. And then if we had any updates, we could call them and they would help us problem solve it. They have now since grown into a situation where they are making it cloud-based and changing the format of it. So We could essentially continue to go forward with our current one, but they are no longer supporting it. And we would be on our own basically if there were any issues. So that's where where they're moving to a cloud-based format. So as we started this conversation, we said, well, do we want to keep Time Clocks Plus? Do we want to look at another program which we looked at called Skyward? And you can see here the different quotes, and I have the quotes, the details of the quotes from Time Clock Plus here. It's a 36-month contract. There would be a $5,000 one-time fee to help develop it. And it looks like the annual fee is about $5,850. And we're thinking, man, right now we haven't been paying anything for the old time clocks. And so when I first looked at this, I'm like, oh my goodness, $13,000. This does need board approval if we were looking at it and a one-time implementation. Again, this only tracks hours of employees and employee leave. Other programs such as Skyward, and you're probably reading ahead of me already. Skyward is a more encompassing program. A lot of the bigger districts utilize this because it is not just the time clocks or the time hours. It tracks leave, but it also is a full encompassing HR program. You can have all of your applications can run through that. Our job postings come through that. We have Mr. Reyna that just stepped in. Carrie, help me out what more that Skyward would offer.
Payroll, W-2s, substitutes. It's just, it can run the entirety of your business office.
So we were looking at that going, okay, would we want to jump into that? I think something like Skyward would be very helpful. But when you looked at the ballpark cost of it, the annual fee for Skyward is similar to what the annual license for Time Clocks Plus is. It's just a couple $100 different. However, but they also have a cloud hosting fee for $3,000. So it's the annual license plus. I don't know why they didn't just put it together and call it $9,000. It's kind of like when you go to the restaurant and when you get the guacamole and everything else, and you end up instead of a $10 burrito, now you have a $15 burrito. Like that's kind of what this is right here. But the Skyward setup is 50 grand. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. As we've talked, like, I don't know if we need to go with like Skyward. I would only push for that if that's something that our business office would like, this is what we have to do, but that's a lot of money just for an upfront changeover. Carrie, go ahead and talk, and John.
It's really hard to change programs. Like everybody I've talked to that have ever done changes at the business level, it's a year from heck, and it's just really, really hard. And where Time Clocks Plus is improving their program, I2M is working to go cloud-based as well. Those two together, both being cloud-based, will actually make my job a lot easier without having to change systems. And that $50,000 makes me sick to my stomach.
Sorry, you mentioned another program, being the new guy. What's the other program?
So Time Clocks does our employee tracking,
Uh-huh.
and then we have, it's called I2M, and that is my payroll program and my budgeting program.
Okay.
That
Or
runs my
Skyward would
account.
take both of those and
Megan.
make them one.
Okay.
And what is I2M? Do you know off the top of your head, I2M's annual cost? I know I needed to ask that, because really that's what another thing that we look at, because if it's approximately $3,000, your 6 is on the annual fee, but your 45 grand difference on the other.
It would have to be pretty significant.
And why this didn't come up when there was the COVID money, that's different, but we don't, that's the other thing, is it would be a huge investment out of general fund for us to go, because there's nowhere else where that money would be at.
But you want that right now, if you don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But just for the sake of discussion, it's good to be able to. I thought it was around 2 to 3.
You put it out there, now she's gonna fact check.
I know. It's gonna have to.
It's 5,100.
Annually. Which would have been about 1,000 more than what we would, so
It's,
I don't know, this is intriguing. John, what did you find, anything else you'd like to add that information?
With time clock, they did tell me that. Depending on how far we're in our current contract, they will deduct it from the quote, but they won't tell me that number until we say yes.
I think we've paid fully. Cause I haven't paid them since 24.
That was just a way to hook you in, I think.
Yep.
I don't know. So I would really defer, like, if the board is asking superintendent, what's your opinion? I'm kind of deferring to our technology side and to our business side. And it sounds like, Mrs. DeGraw, you would lean towards staying to like Time Clocks Plus and
Yes.
I2M.
Yes. Because those two programs do talk to each other. Skyward to me makes more sense when you have 400 or 500 employees.
And if we're looking at really the difference on entering in $45,000. And the difference is a $1,000 annual, we'd have to go 45 years before we break even on that decision.
Yeah.
And so I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'm gonna be sitting in this seat in 45 years. I'd be like,
No,
broke even on this.
Finally made it.
we do it, and you can't quit until ends.
You don't want, some people don't want me here at 46. You want me to be here as a 90-year-old superintendent?
Well, $1,000.
Yeah. So,
So they talk well enough and work together well enough that it's not worth combining into one system.
well, and I think the point Mrs. DeGraw made, because the previous district where we worked was a bigger district and it was a Skyward district. But they're having, where we have maybe a handful of jobs open, they might at one time have 30 or 40 jobs open at one time. And so that program is collecting all those applicants, applications, communications. I just don't think we're big enough.
The other thing
Justify
with
it.
Skyward is they have kind of like Power School and they have well, there's this program you can add and there's this program you can add. And each program adds to the
The cost.
one-time service fee. So you have to do a one-time service fee plus the new cost.
It's really not 50,000, it's more,
It would be
because you're
more.
gonna have to have, inevitably, you're gonna have another system that you
Yeah,
want.
but the two systems that we currently use with I2M and the Times Clocks Plus, those. Okay, this has been, at least, so I'm glad that we've had that information. So coming back to the board, from the superintendent perspective, I would recommend just going with the Time Clocks Plus. It is 13,000 to start off with. This one will fix a few of the issues that we currently have with some of our like bus drivers and maintenance that need to remotely clock in. And so this actually helps fix it, and that's a nice part, but it would be, according to that purchase order, we have this quote of 13,505.
And which one will this?
It would go out of, would this go out of technology fund? I haven't
Yeah.
talked with you on that one, but it would go out of the technology.
Well, based on recommendations, the chair will entertain a motion to approve purchase of Time Clock Plus for the 3-year quote of $13,505. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Not those in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Okay.
All right, so the couple more spending things with projects where we're at. So we do have several projects in place with the facilities fund, but I wanted to give an overview to the board. Just to see where we're at. So we've had two different projects that have been completed so far with this fund. One was the roof here on the ALC that came in. We had a lot of rain this December. Do we have any leaks to your knowledge?
It's a good test.
This was the first, yeah, we actually had a really good test this winter. With that, and so that roof was completed and done. Then we had the lift and level and the overlays. Overlays are performing great. I think, even with the small snow that we did have. They're not as slick as what we thought they might be. We had some concerns when it first was rainy a little bit, but. Mr. Miller, anything else to add on those two projects?
Well, they're holding up great. Broom works far better than the shovel. We haven't had any issues with it.
Okay. And so those two combined, we've spent 454,000 of that, and so. That is coming out of the 2.7 million that we received. And just as a reminder, for those that might be listening, the 521 facility funds have to be spent on very specific projects that are capital projects, big projects, district-wide. They cannot be used for general maintenance. So if we're repainting one classroom, the new blinds in here are coming from plant facility. They cannot come from this fund unless it's a major remodel district-wide. Some of the examples that they gave, you can't go and replace a window in one classroom unless you're replacing windows in all classrooms in a section or all of that.
Or if you're remodeling the entire room, like if we painted and did the carpet and then put the blinds up, then we did a complete overhaul of the room, that would count.
That would count, but just coming in and doing one of the items would be viewed as maintenance. That under, okay. So when we look at that, we have 2.2 remaining. Right now, we have 1.7 that is earmarked into a CD that we cannot get to, so we have access to 619,000 that we can pull at any time for projects. We are gaining interest on both of those right now. And when we get that interest, we put it into plant facility fund because we can use it at our discretion. We could use it for anything else if we wanted to. We could use it for technology. We could use it for buying curriculum. On that interest, it's at our discretion, but as of right now, we've chosen, Mrs. DeGraw and I've planned on this, and the board can always direct differently, but we put into plant facility, so we can use it as maintenance if we need to, for other projects. We have used some for our athletic purchases, if we remember when we voted on the wrestling mats. This is what helped pay for the wrestling mats that are gonna be coming this next year on that.
The other reason we chose to put it in plant facility is because when they gave us the 521 money, they did take some of our maintenance funds away. And so we're using the interest to
For now.
replace that as well.
Offset it but we know it's not gonna last it forever, because as we
Spend it down.
spend it down, our interest is gonna go down as well. And so we recognize that.
Still, that's a good chunk of money.
It is.
$100,000.
It is, and the one that's in the Bank of Commerce CD that matures again next month. And so then we'll have to decide how much we keep in there. So that leads us to the discussion on this next project, the PE changing rooms and bathroom remodel. I'm not, as through this discussion, just so we see the whole thing on this discussion slash. I do have an action item in here to continue to move forward or to table a project. We've already started this, especially Mrs. Belknap, just so you're aware. We've already voted on last year to have Headwaters and the architect go forward, and we've already paid money into this process. So after the architect has come out, they've looked at the facilities. put into place on what it is. Now we have our estimates, and that's where I'm gonna pull up the budget on it. We need to get right to the dollar signs of this. So we have the projects that we are looking at are remodeling the changing rooms in the high school, completely remodeling the bathrooms in the high school, and then the bathrooms in the junior high and the elementary. And I might as well just go to the whole thing, and it is almost $1 million. Just put that there. I should have asked you if you were sitting down. This was a lot higher than what we were hoping. I was thinking that it would be at least half of this, but I don't know. Mr. Miller, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe why it's where it's at? Just some thoughts. This is all discussion right now.
It's a little more in depth than we were hoping. They're gonna have to excavate some concrete on the floor to get it to some plumbing and replace the concrete. So it was more in depth than we had imagined started. But a lot of it too is when we start changing fixture counts, we have to make up for those fixtures. So like the boys' restroom and the girls' restroom. Things have changed since the last time we were compliant, ADA compliant, to now how you have to be ADA compliant. So some of the fixture counts changing make it to where like the men's faculty restroom is actually gonna be accessed from the main hallway and considered like a family style restroom. It'll still be the men's faculty, but if someone needs it, it'll be ADA accessible. The bathrooms in the same thing, junior high and elementary, they are not up to today's ADA standards. So when we start making changes, we have to make all of the changes to get everything up to today's code. So it's a lot more in depth than we initially thought it might be when we got into the requirements of it all.
And so what we're looking at right here, this is the boys' locker room in the high school. And where you see 4 and 4, those would be the girls' bathroom, boys' bathroom. And then this was the one adult bathroom here that could be used as an ADA. And because it's an old school, like as soon as we, yeah, there's different things that they have to change. But when we were looking at the costs of the different things with concrete, maybe I should have had a picture of the current one, and I think that, I don't know if you go into it, it's pretty gross. I don't know how else to say. Those locker rooms are not in great shape. And as we look at this and say, this is money that was given, it's not to us from the state. We're not taxing our local patrons for it. It might be our only chance to go in and really fix these. I know there's discussions on saying, well, this is an old school. Why can't we just wait until we build a new high school? There's problems with that. One, our enrollment is flatlined. Like we are having the same type of adjustments in population that there is in Idaho. Like there was an article in Idaho News a couple months ago saying less kids in public school. And it's not because people hate public school. It's because you have a lot of seniors that are graduating with a big class, and statewide, your kindergarten class is coming in smaller. Has nothing to do that people aren't choosing public school. It's that people are having fewer babies. And we see the same thing with our enrollment. We'll have 60 plus kids graduate this year, and 40 kids come in to kindergarten. So right there, you're 20 different. So it's not that we're losing kids, but so we look at the school that we have, we can't build a new one also because of the cost. Like if we were to go out and bond, we can only bond for approximately, I haven't had the newest one, so I'm gonna say approximate. When I first started as superintendent, I think it was like 12.5 million, but property values have increased. So I think we're closer to 14 million now. 14 million, if 1 million is only buying us some remodels on some, that there's no way we're building a new high school, let alone any building with $14 million. So our best focus right now is to continue to maintain and make the facilities we have last for as long as they can. And right now, as we look campus wide, these are probably the most used areas that are in the highest need of being repaired. I don't know, would you agree with that, Andy?
Absolutely, not just by people here, but the outside public, they come in. You see those areas, so.
Yeah. So it's a lot. I've done a lot of talking. What are your guys, when you see stuff like
Can you
this?
go back to the diagram, the blueprint? there?
Yeah. Oops, sorry, that was the nice one. Let me get this one closed out so I. This one here, so this, I can move to a different area if I need to. So when you look at the locker room here and you follow mouse, this is where you would walk in, and that's that little edge. So this is gonna be a bathroom now.
Is that the shower now?
Yeah. If I.
It's supposed to be, but it's being used as a restroom.
This is the girls' side.
Serious, that's-
This one here, this is what the rendering looks like as you're walking in to that. So when you walk in, this is what you are going to see there. This is the door that goes outside.
Mhm.
This opens up. You have a door here to go into.
Sorry, can you back up outside where I have not been in the
Oh.
boys locker room.
You're saying back in 1992, you never went into the boys. Don't admit it here. So out towards the coal room, so on the backside of the library where the weight room is at, if you go out that door right there, you're gonna go past the coal room area.
Okay,
And if you walk out that door that you're looking at and continue to walk to your south, you would go right to the Panther Den. You'd go
Okay.
past the ag room. Past
so
the
there's
weight
a
room.
door from the locker room that goes outside.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
And they had that, I believe, for like, when that was the only locker room for the football team, they would just,
okay,
they would go out that door towards and the baseball team would go out that way.
okay.
So, and I just mentioned that
So
because,
that's an exit from the building.
yeah, so
Okay.
you come in here, is this exit right here,
Okay,
and this would be the library. And this is the boiler room going to the south.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does that exit still need to exist?
We talked about
So I
that.
talked, she said it's not a legal issue, we can get rid of it, but if we have a good egress, and if we need it, it's there,
Yeah, we thought just,
but we can legally get rid of it.
we discussed it, but we didn't think it would gain us any more space.
I just wondered if there was ever a problem with students using that exit. Is it locked on a regular basis?
It's not- you can't be in from the outside,
Oh,
you can go out.
so you can go out, but you can't
Yep.
get into the
Yeah.
building that door.
This is the boys' locker room looking to exit to go into the hall, so you can see that we have the three different areas there. That would be this room, and that room. I know it's the first time you're seeing it, and I'm moving through it quickly, but. And so one of these would be a shower. That's just a single shower. Again, the showers would have to be ADA, so there's a little bit more space through that.
So there'll only be one shower versus your
Mm-hmm.
tree of life there.
Where this doesn't, this
We're
is.
trying to maintain at least one shower because they're not used frequently, but
So where did the junior high boys shower go?
They go to the Panther Den.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they go to the Panther Den. And so that would be this project. The other thing that, looking at the public and the student restrooms here. One of the things that it does add the cost to it is we wanted to put the access door to the adult restroom out here. Right now, this is the teacher workroom. Individuals that have to use that go in this door and then they say hi to everybody as they awkwardly walk into the bathroom. And then
and that's where they eat their lunch.
and everybody's in there for lunch and coffees and stuff. So we were wanting to like close that off and go up through there. So, and that does add more to the,
So remodeling that women's bathroom, does that address the problem of the heat being excessive in that room?
I don't know about the heat on that one, because it's gonna be a different,
So when they, part of this remodel is updating the ventilation and the HVAC for the locker room restrooms. So it will.
So maybe it just won't be like on fire in there.
and again, going back to the cost, I think that talks about the excessiveness of this. Like from my viewpoint, where I don't have a background in construction and stuff, and I'm, you know, sometimes watch a lot of those home remodeling things, you're like, oh, just get a sledgehammer, start knocking this wall down and we'll get it fixed. Man, there's a lot that goes into it when it comes to the ADA, and I think the Headwaters and our architect have done a great job, even though sometimes I'm like, really, that's gonna be costing us a lot of money. But this way they're doing it right. We're gonna do it right, and if we choose to continue with this, we're gonna pay, we're paying for professionals to come in and do it. Is there a chance, Andy, that it's gonna be less than this?
They have contingencies built in. I think it's at the top.
Well, some of them, they say allowances.
Yeah, so there's a $30,000 allowance for asbestos removal.
So it could be less, but it could be.
They did their best.
Hopefully not
there are
more.
Spots that they have to do abatement, but it shouldn't be $30,000 worth.
So then as far as outlining the projects. The high school locker rooms would be the first to begin. Is that the
So, yeah, you guys have to schedule.
Yeah.
I've got the
Yeah,
schedule.
so that was the easiest thing we could get them in was limited interruptions if they could start earlier. So that's where they would start, and we kind of asked them to finish that building before they moved on to the next building, so they don't try to go back and forth. So we're starting with PE changing rooms, and then move on to that.
Mr. Williams, can you remind us why we want to do our junior high and elementary bathrooms?
Rendering of those bathrooms.
Sorry, can I ask a question back to that architect drawing? Not the
rendering.
Not the
This
pretty
one.
RE one, yeah, that one. So there's that one with the two asterisks, is that the adult men's bathroom
Yes.
family? So why is there not a door there?
There is a door there.
Okay,
It's a locked door. She just doesn't have it on there.
okay,
But what we would be doing is there's a treatment fountain in the main hallway. We would be moving it down and putting access from the main hallway into the and doing away with that next door.
Right here.
So you have access. from
oh,
the
so it's
hallway.
gonna actually look different than what this is then? Okay.
So there's a door to access the boys' restroom.
Mhm.
Once you go through it, there's another door straight ahead. You can either go into the boys' room or go into the faculty restroom. They'll wall that off and then the entrance will only be from the main hallway.
Okay,
I think it's
That was my
better to
question.
separate the staff.
And really, those could become either gender
Be
bathrooms.
gender
That
neutral
one,
bathrooms.
that one does become either because of the ADA accessibility.
And this other adult one, does it have to, like, it could be,
It doesn't have to be.
I think it could be either or, and I think that would be,
The current men's restroom is what we'll look out for ADA accessibility. So it'll have a men's and women's family, whatever sign.
a family sign on it.
Where does your water fountain move to?
It just moves down a few feet.
Okay.
And but all that does increase cost, cause they're,
Cinderella clause.
yep.
Do you have a rendering of the junior high?
Yeah, let me get through and see what I've got here, because that's what they said. So the girls' locker room, would also, we change up where their bathrooms are at, try to utilize that space better as well. Let me go through here. So this would be this would be what the bathroom would look like inside one of these rooms here. There's the bathroom. This is what the shower would look like inside that room. And this is a rendering of the high school bathroom. And that's it. She didn't have, I don't believe they had pictures of what the junior high would look like, or did they? I don't think I attached them to this. But I don't remember seeing pictures like this of the only thing in the junior high. Let me see.
Did you have the girls' locker room in there?
Just.
This is the elementary office. They would redo these here. And redo here, but. The ideas that we had, they'd have to have 4 into each, see this. This might be the specific one. Well. Those are more specific, so here's and I'll get to that as we're looking through this. Here's the girls' locker room, changing room, that has a little storage in there. But they would have entrance here with a girl toilet there, a girl toilet there, and 2 sinks. So this is the current shower area. And we would replace that and make it into bathrooms. And then turn the current little tiny bathroom in there into an individual shower.
Are you keeping that other exit from the locker room right there?
What did we decide on that, right? This one here has that.
Doesn't that one go in the hallway?
That one goes into the hallway. I-
You realize it was there.
Yeah, because this used to be, because this used to be the outside of the school. When the school was first built on the original school, that's where it ended. That's before the auditorium, before the science room, before the old computer lab and the English room. That was all grass at one time. And this would have been an exit door out of the locker room. At that time. And so then when we come back over to here, this is back into the boys' locker room. You have the ADA toilet bathroom here on this end, and this is where the shower currently is. This middle one would become the shower. And then over here you'd have 2 urinals and a sink. With a divider right there. You see that divider? And a divider right there. Coming down into this one here. And then this is what Andy was talking about, is we block that door off, and that's the part I think you were looking at, Emily.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me. So
Yeah,
thank you.
this one would be here, and then the door would come in this way. In here, you would have. So the boys' restroom would then go to 2 urinals and 2 toilets instead of like 4 urinals that are just stacked right next to each other. And then the girls would have the 4 toilets, the sink. Come out that door. I'm just looking at this one here. Out this door. Oh, the water fountain would be right here.
It's on the back side of you.
That's where that would be moved to, and
Yeah.
is the water fountain would be moved on the back side of the staff. The staff room, so instead of the doorway, it's moved down to that spot.
So is that, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, so the female teacher bathroom comes in from like the.
Hallway. Yep,
From the main hallway, or they come down?
main hallway, you would turn as if you were gonna go into the girls'
And
student
then go
room, but
up.
they have a door right there.
Okay, when I say main hallway, coming from like where the office is.
Yeah, so the office right here coming down
Yeah.
this way.
Okay,
So instead of accessing it through this wall through the teacher's room, it comes around this way. And up in. All right, so that one,
Is there a reason why you're like the one is accessed from the main hall, the other one you come into that little bathroom?
I think it's just. Your question is, why couldn't we have the door up here? I think it's because that's where the toilet's at. And it would be
Oh,
hard,
already, okay.
yeah, it'd be hard to put a door right there. They were trying to find an access to not interfere with plumbing if possible. Would you say that's accurate, Andy, on that? I don't know if you were looking at something else. Question was, why couldn't we come from the hallway into the teacher one? And I'm thinking they don't want to move another.
There's not enough room.
I don't-
Without having to move the plumbing and something else.
And also I think you'd be taking out some of the things from the hallway. I don't know if we have lockers there.
You know, we don't, it was strictly a plumbing, wall issue.
Okay.
So to keep the cost down, we just pivoted the door to the side wall.
You kept the cost down well, kept it under a mil, no
So,
doubt.
yeah.
So it's not a problem for the adults to come through that same door as the students.
It's not the same, it's just the same hallway.
Because of
They
that
do go through
door
the
right
women's
there.
Restroom door to get into that one though.
Yeah.
Do they?
Where
They
your
do.
mouse is, that's the opening for the women's restroom.
Is there a door there?
There's not.
No,
There's not a door there. It's just a hall.
So it's just.
well, it's showing a door.
It is showing the door
It's
though.
showing
It's showing a door, and so that's why.
So you're swinging that door to the left.
So is there gonna be a door
Over left to
down
get into that private bathroom.
right to where you
Maybe,
walk into
if
that?
that's the case, this does not, there's no way this can be a multi-gender one. It can
No,
only
that
be-
one's not, it's just.
And that's similar to what we used to have over here for the boys, cause the adult staff would walk into here. And then unlock this with their key and then go into this one. So it's probably a similar thing, and they would keep this door locked and then staff can get in.
So the
Do we see an issue, or a question?
Well, that's the thing, is it still appropriate through a women's bathroom, what you're not wanting through a men's bathroom? Cause it looks like they moved the handicap accessible or one, the stall closest to the door.
That might be a question we need to write down, is why do we need a door right here?
Why couldn't you have the door to the women's restroom swing out instead of in? It would impede that first stall and still have the other door swinging right.
So right here where my mouse is at,
Yeah,
make
but
that
have
the
it-
door
Have it swing out
and have that swing out.
instead of creating a new doorway. That way both restrooms are kept separate from adults.
And then
Students.
eliminate having to even build a door right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are you making any notes at all on that, Andy?
Mentally.
Let me. And this is what I think needs to be looked at.
It's a good
Um,
catch, Andrea.
I didn't look at the women's bathroom very closely, okay? Just so you know, I've been focusing on the boys.
I'm really glad we have lots of eyes looking at this. Cause there's lots of perspectives.
Cause it kind of looks like they wanted it to mirror the men's bathroom, the way that the doors are in all reality, cause they are similar.
No. Yeah.
This other little room, is that just a janitorial closet thing there?
When you're looking. Oh, right here, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a janitor's closet, and that's
Okay.
the mop scene right there. Okay, that's a good catch on that one.
Closet looks a lot bigger than it actually is.
Anything else on, as we're looking at this, the high school, should we move on over to the elementary?
Question on the invoice.
You wanna jump to the invoice?
It's just specific to the high school lockers.
Okay.
Maybe it's just not on the renderings, but. It's got, I might give it a minute since I bought coat hook boards.
What's your question, Ken?
What number can you, like, try to say a number?
You say coat hook?
Yeah.
So what we're doing is the lockers will be inside of the bench that they sit on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna have full lockers. There's gonna be lockers underneath the benches and then there'll be a row
Right
of
there.
coat hooks. So they can hang their backpack or coat or whatever on when they. go to
Right.
PE. That's what it is.
So this is a bench / locker room space. We're not gonna assign them out to kids, but if a kid had their own lock,
Mm-hmm.
they could put their valuables in there, lock it up during the class, which would help protect their valuables.
I don't know if the lockers, I don't think they're included in this, maybe they are. Should it be
About 52,000.
that just for the coat hooks?
No, that's for the bench, locker bench.
Okay, cause this just says coat hook board 55 grand.
That's like going to a doctor and getting a Band-Aid and You know, the emergency
You know,
room,
hooks these are, but
they're gold.
So can you explain why we need lockers if they have lockers in the hallways for their
That could be
things?
for visiting teams. That could
Yeah,
be for that.
this is just for PE. They wouldn't leave their changing clothes and stuff. They wouldn't change their clothes and then walk all the way back out to their hallway locker. This would they would go into here, change into their weightlifting clothes or their PE clothes. If they have their phone or their wallet, they have the opportunity now to put it there. Where as of right now, we don't have lockers that they could lock, and it does leave them at risk for
In 1992, there were lockers, so that's been.
there are
changed.
there are lockers there, but they're not assigned individually. I
Okay,
think they were old hand-me-down ones that were pulled out of one project and put into there. A lot of them are in very bad shape. And so,
so if they're using them for PE with a personal lock, then the visiting team, they won't have access to them, right?
but I don't know how many kids will leave their stuff. They won't be assigned there. So as soon as PE is over, in theory, the kids should take their stuff,
Okay.
put it in their bag and leave their lock is what I anticipate how it being used.
I'm reading this better now. This is like item 70 says lockers, benches includes co-hook board.
Uh-huh.
So it's not just that one itemized thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like vinyl graphics that we were talking about. It's paint, coating.
You know, and another thing is the thing that jumps out, like if you look at number 53 with the tiling, that's a huge chunk. There might be like they might have been doing the Taj Mahal tiling on this one too. There's other ways we could look at the tiles.
Well, the way they have it depicted, it looked like it was the entire wall.
Yeah,
Could you do partial wall tile?
well, this one here is
That's cinder block, isn't it?
cinder block. This one here would be like what we have in the auditorium here at the ALC.
Flooring.
The flooring would be like that. I'm assuming it's gonna be, let me go.
It would be in the
The shower.
bathrooms.
The bathroom.
And that just seems like a lot of money for that. And they're tiling all the way up.
See, like in that room, couldn't you just do that back area tile?
Yes.
Since that's the only area that's affected by water. And then
You,
have
you
the front-
could, but it also depends on what are we hiding? Like, what are we trying to cover up? Like, when,
Oh,
not-
what's there and.
yeah, it's not like the wall there is very gorgeous. And so that's a question we could ask about the tiling as well. If there were any other options with.
But if it's gonna be a wet room, I'd almost rather the whole
Yeah.
thing, because you're gonna have
Moisture.
moisture, and so it'd be better just to have a barrier.
Well, like
to
the
protect
next
it.
picture down in your bathroom,
uh,
do those walls need to be tiled that high? Is that just an aesthetic thing? Could it be painted partway up? Cause that won't have the moisture like a shower does. I understand the lower part would be easier to clean if it was tile versus.
You're feeding damage, keep it down too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of tile work to be done on the floors as well, so.
Yeah.
And depending on the type of product used for the tiling.
Let's go to.
Do you guys have another meeting with them to
Yeah.
discuss these details?
We haven't said anything.
We wanted to discuss with the board, have this discussion. You know, I think we have not signed anything saying, nope, yep, we're in, this is what we're doing. So. I'm looking at this. Here's on the left, this is what the elementary would change into. It's pretty similar to where it's at. So let me look and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. A lot of different things that we've had opened. Oh, it's from here. I'm right back to where we started. So the elementary, this would be right by the office in the elementary. These would be the urinals. As of right now, if we haven't been into there, we have these probably original from 1960 little tiny short mini stalls. Like that tall fourth and fifth graders can actually look over, and it's not a good situation. Those would all be built up to the regular height. This one here now is the junior doors going in. I know we discussed at one time, is there a way that we can help figure out the entrances here to see if there's a way to maybe cut back on vandalism or roughhousing, mostly in the boys, but over the past few years, there are times the girls haven't been immune to it as well at this age. But this would allow for 3 urinals with, I don't see the dividers on there. Is that maybe that's the current one, isn't it? So this is what we currently have. That's right. I went back to what it would be. And so you're looking at this, the little boys one by the office would have the urinals. They do have to change the height on one of those urinals. It would take it down from 4 toilets to 2 toilets. But they have to be able to, like you can see, then increase the size for the ADA. We don't have any ADA appropriate sizes in that one there. Also, the new code suggests that instead of having just the one sink, they need to have enough wash basins, so they have to add one for each one of those. Now going back to the junior high, this is what we currently have. We have the 3 really tight urinals. I kind of laughed at because they are, and these are like 2 inches off the ground, and for the back in the 60s, these are higher. So it's going to be good to get the right levels for the boy urinals. They will. We do not have the right sizes for ADA. This would adjust to make them for ADA. So the boys really only lose 1 urinal, but they do gain dividers. We have asked for this one to put full height dividers in the boys, just to go all the way up to the roof and to the bottom. The girls go from 4, and they still get to keep 4, and the sink.
So can we put like a dual locking system so they can't kick them open anymore?
I don't know, dual locking.
I'm kidding,
They
of
put the
course.
floor one down and
A bolt on the floor.
a bolt on the floor. I don't know why it is I don't know if it's just the hormonal change in the boys at that age, but they lose their minds at times and aren't thinking. But I don't think we had any. Do you remember, Andy? Did they have any pictures like this of they did not have them for us yet. But that would be the.
So how's that address the problems that you've been having in that junior high bathroom?
The doors, they're gonna be similar to this door that has a window in it, but it's gonna be a louvered.
We're gonna cut vents. We're gonna cut vents in it so we can hear better. There's 2 things. One, we're hoping that having the full height and it be nice and new, that the kids treat it nicer, we hope. And it's not that, honestly, it's not like the tile and things were replaced a few years back in both of those. We didn't adjust any ADA things because I think it was all done in-house. I don't know. They're still monitoring different things that we have to keep working with that. I don't think there's a guarantee. They did look at one option that, and I'm glad we cut this back because I think this would have put us well over $1 million, was to come in on this backside closet and cut a hole here where we didn't have to have closed off doors and you could hear that going in. But I'm thinking that probably would have been another $100,000 just for that. And I don't think that would guarantee changing of it. So I think having the dividers allows for more privacy. Having it new.
Do you have to have the 2 doors going into each one, or can you just have the one on the?
We might, I don't know.
It's a line of sight issue.
The hard part is if we have one off. Maybe though with those dividers going out, does it provide enough privacy if this door was gone? And we only had that outside door or vice versa? Can we revisit that? I know we talked about that at one
Yeah,
point.
we tried to see line of sight without having the extended dividers in there. It's hard to see where they were.
And it also goes in, if you're in here and you're waiting in line, do you want everybody to be walking by and, oh, Sally's ready to go to the bathroom, you know, it's. It goes. Cause I know we've wanted to just take all the doors off, but then no one's gonna use the restroom here and it creates another problem. So. So sorry that I don't have the renderings, but we'll set up a meeting with them. Go through it, as you guys review these at home, if you have other questions. Send them to us, so we can bring them up with it, so going back to like, current meeting action item. I'm not asking us to vote on and say, yep, let's approve $1 million of that, but again. Our discussion, and I guess this is a discussion I want you guys to give us feedback on. Is $1 million too much to be looking at this project? It's a lot. It's a lot, but I don't know what else.
It's an
do.
extensive project though.
It
It's
is.
not just one building. It's multiple.
Is it worth out of our remaining, 2.2 million? Are we feeling comfortable that when we're done with this project, we have 1.2 left?
Do you put it off and let it get worse?
Exactly, yeah, that's,
I don't like
It's
the
not
idea
gonna
of
get any
spending
cheaper.
yeah, I don't like the idea of spending $1 million on just. Changing room, bathroom, essentially, or. But still, that's
How much do you expect it to go up by next year though?
yeah,
Just because the price of everything goes up.
that's kind of the one pot. Or spot in all the buildings we haven't touched.
No one has.
no one's. We've never had the money available to just do it. We're not going out and asking our patrons to pass a bond to fix it.
And like Mr. Miller said, these are core facilities, these are
Everyday use.
right, who's important.
So, and we don't, we can. You guys, you can make a motion to just be like, hey, let's just keep moving forward with this. Have us report back to it. But this also gives you guys the opportunity with this is to say, let's stop this, pay out headwaters and just wash our hands of it. I'm not proposing that, but I'm just saying this is a decision that. We want the board. But we will have to eventually sign off on the project, and we're looking at the timeline. We are gonna have a work meeting next week. Possibly we might have to have a special meeting to come in after we meet with the architect, come in and say, boom, let's go for it, are we in favor of this? But this is gonna give you several weeks to look it over, see where we're at. I know my recommendation, even though it's hard, and it's similar to what you were saying, Tyson, it's a lot of money, but I don't know where else, like where we have it. Is it worse off for us to be like, hey, we have the money to do this. This might be our only chance to ever do this, but let's don't do it just because it is a lot. I don't think that's the right mentality either.
So, Andy, is there anything else on campus, or I guess anybody? That is another area like this that you can see we're gonna have to pump another million into, say another million?
I'm looking at
Or is this kind of like the last big thing,
The next
other than
project
building a
we have
new
to
structure?
It's gonna help abate some of that cost out.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about another thing that's $60,000 compared to 900. Other things that I see, we probably have a few classrooms that need to be completely gutted and remodeled.
The classrooms in 38.
In the 38, maybe cupboards and things in Hamer are about time to be be rotated. As I'm going through the different schools, the different things, but again, the extensiveness of bathrooms because of the ADA, the asbestos, the plumbing. Like we could go back in and maybe we try to update our current situations, but we're not gonna be able to add dividers like we need to. We're not gonna have the privacy that we need for showering without having it extensively. Just kind of gutted and gone through.
So I think we've touched every roof. haven't we?
Yeah. We might have like two little sections that haven't been, like maybe over the far side of the science room in the high school. I'll have to like double check. There might be two spots where we have black roof instead of the white. But again, even if we were needing to do sections of that, we're looking at $20,000 to $30,000. And going back to the like we have 2.2 available. You take out 900,000, that leaves us with 1.2 million still to like to address things. And
Turf baseball.
a turf baseball field, don't start.
Sure, across the whole.
Not allowed to with these funds.
Can't use that.
So these. You call them changing rooms now in the.
Yeah, well, the reason why we're calling it changing rooms is to be, because we can't use 521 for athletics, and where we don't hold high school athletics in that building, it is a PE changing room.
Okay.
It's a locker room, but when we put locker room on that, some people think, oh, that's all sports. No, it's
for
a
PE.
it's a PE classroom.
So are there teams that practice in that gym inside the high school?
Yeah,
And where are they changing and,
they usually change in there.
okay,
But if you're looking at the percentage of time during the school day, you have a PE class mostly every hour. And so the vast majority of that space is academic first, even though it is a sports academic, but it's,
and then when they are showering, it sounds like they're going to the Panther Den.
yeah,
and getting ready
or they
and
don't shower right now. I think,
They'll go
I hate to
somebody
say that,
else.
but in the boys' room, the showers become an extra urinal and it smells like it.
Okay.
Is there any sort of time restriction on the 521 money?
No,
No, it's our money. We can do with what we want.
I think it's a 10-year process on the bond that the state went, and so we're assuming that we're not gonna see any more of this money for another 10 years if they choose to renew that bond,
But we don't know if they will.
but we don't know if they will.
But you're saying the 38 building needs some extensive overhaul.
In the classrooms
The classrooms need updated,
upstairs.
not moving the walls, not doing any of that, just. You're trying to
Stripping
fresh,
down and-
fresh,
Floors, walls.
you just need overhaul.
Okay,
And they're pretty confident they can get this entire project done for schools back in session.
August 19th is their turnover date,
Which
where they,
the turnover date would be for over here, so if we had to do something with the elementary and junior high where they don't require as many hours. But that would be the time that that's the day that we would start anyway, I think, for these guys.
Those projects are never on time though.
They
ahead of time.
They aren't, but when we look at us starting right now, this is the one conversation, if they start these other projects in May. There's a chance they might even be able to start in April, don't you think, Andy? I know they put in here to start in May. If this process goes through sooner, they might even be able to start in April.
Yeah.
On some of those, and what would happen is they would start during school on the PE changing rooms. And we would just have to, for the short period, have our PE classes go over to the Panther Den. At that time, use those rooms, just cross them off, they could start demoing inside of there.
Yeah.
At that time. So we're hoping, but you're right, Emily, I don't know how many I've ever seen end on time. And if we had to.
But I think you're right with
They're only allowing a month to permit.
their hours.
So,
If we were to to move forward on this, can we go back up just a little bit to the CD amount?
Yeah.
How much would you feel comfortable keeping in our CD?
Mr. Williams and I started talking about it yesterday. I'm not prepared at this point in time to make a decision, but I was leaning towards having 300,000 available at all times. And then put the rest into the CD.
Just really like that, pretty interesting.
I know.
Well, and our state treasurer has been making good money for us. I mean, we've got 73,000 since we got the funds. It has been making good interest for us. But I also think that keeping that emergency fund, you know, before I came, the board set it at 200,000 for emergency. I would wager 300,000 is more accurate now,
Yeah.
so.
Well, if there's not, I think you guys could just make a motion to say, keep moving forward. Or to keep moving forward with the changes in the bathrooms. Well, this has been helpful for us to have this. A vote just to go forward doesn't mean that you're voting on all of it right now, but it just, we're gonna continue with those conversations with headwaters.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see how we don't either.
Is there any other discussion? Comments, questions?
If they have any more renderings, I'd be interested.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve moving forward with the changing rooms and bathroom projects.
Madam Chair, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Thank you.
So second one is a water softener proposed project. This is new. This is the first time that we've talked about this. This has come about last couple weeks or so. We've been working on over in the Panther Den in one of the mechanic rooms, and this is where all the hot water and everything comes up. I think it's no surprise that we have really hard water in this area. And if you don't have a water softener at your own home, I don't have one at my home, and I have to clean out my my water heater twice a year. This gets built up all the time. But we're seeing that some of our pumps and different things are starting to fail at different times because of all the hard water. And we've had that hard water build up even when we had our chlorine system. If you remember, a couple years ago, we took out our chlorine system and improved the well that came out of the ground. All of our water is coming really clean now, but it's coming with I don't think the chlorine took away any of that hard water. It's always been there. And so I asked Mr. Miller to look into a couple different options, solutions that we can have to say, what can we do to hopefully preserve these pumps? If you go into those mechanical rooms, we've got huge pumps and different things, and when they fail, it shuts the water down, and it's expensive too. You want to talk a little bit more about the experience with the cost of some of the pumps we've had replaced this last little bit?
Last 2 weeks, we had one pump and two valves I had to buy, and it was right at $5,000. And it was the smallest pumps we use in there. We have ones that are about 4 times larger than those. And it's not just that, it's everything. It's all of the thermostats and heaters, it's the boilers, it's everything is being affected by this hard water. It's putting pipes on, and we're changing a ton of parts. And when you take them apart, they're just gunked up from hard water.
And do you think but it's been like this probably for forever here?
Oh, yeah, it's just, we're coming now to where things are failing because of it, that we're finding.
And so with that, when you looked at that, does putting a soft water, does it start to clean it up over time? Like by putting?
It will, so initially, we're gonna face plug screens and everything for quite a while. Because the softener, as it goes through the pipes, is gonna clean the pipes out. So all the sinks are gonna start plugging up, we're gonna have to make sure the screens are being cleaned and changed frequently until the pipes do get cleaned up. And then they'll stay cleaner moving forward, but initially it's gonna be a pain just because everything's gonna start flushing out from the stuff that's coming out of the pipes.
So one of the reasons why this jumped, and maybe I should have even taken a picture of it, but in the mechanical room at the Panther's Den. It's that big water heater looking thing, and on top of your water heaters at home, there's that little valve with the emergency thing that, that's the emergency escape valve. That's the one thing that failed on it. And so they had a hose that was coming out and we were losing hot water, and it happened probably over a time where that water was running for several days, probably before somebody saw it. It was over the break actually when it happened. And the good thing we had our home wrestling match, because I was walking around and like, what is going on? And was cleaning with Mrs. Ramirez over there, and she's like, hey, come look at this. And I opened the door, and what happened though is there's a drain right there where that water is supposed to go down into. That drain from the water coming down was filled with the calcium from the hard water. So then it was going to the other thing and going all over the place. So we clogged the drain with hard water. And I'm like, wow, we
Sealed it,
just sealed it shut. And so Nick was there, and he was getting like a little knife and stuff, and we're poking it down in there to break that calcium away out of the emergency drain. So I think we need to do something. I don't know if this water softener. I had you look into like the wider voodoo magic thing. I don't know if anybody's ever seen or done that. It's like a non-water softener one, but I don't think there's
It
effective.
ionizes the water.
It's supposed to, like, you run it along the pipe as it comes out of the ground, and it's supposed to ionize it and then it cleans it off. I don't know.
Exactly. Witchcraft.
I don't really know.
They have industrial water softeners that hospitals and college campuses use. They're readily available.
So I don't know if anybody else has heard of any different things besides that. So I'll let you talk on here's some ballpark quotes that we had, and we can get it more closer when we get there, but explain the different things between the multiple units and the option and the single units, Sandy.
So multiple, we would have one in this building, in the elementary and in the high school. The high school would also support the Panther Den. So you'd have 3 individual ones on here and then one in Hamer. So
would that look like the water comes out of the well from the pump house?
Yeah.
In a hard water format, runs to this building, elementary building, high school building, and we'd have to also do the same thing in Hamer. That's what
and then
that,
gets treated as it comes into.
so then it comes in the building, we treat it there, and then it goes through all the fixtures in the building. That's the multiple unit approach.
So you have 3 different places here on campus that you're monitoring and adding salt to the treatment system and all that. Where the single unit, we would set up by the well house. I was envisioning getting one of those like 10 or 12 foot connexes and set it there and connect it to the well house. Put it in there, have all the salt in there, and one unit would take care of the whole campus. It has 2 tanks on it. And each tank will treat 14,000 gallons of water. So as this one's regenerating, the other one's treating 14,000 gallons until it's done, and then this one regenerates. It just goes back and forth between them. Salt usage is supposed to be about the same if we use a single unit versus the multiple units. Terry and I did some figuring, and this should be on the extremely high side for money for annual salt usage.
I don't know that I've asked so many questions about a purchase as I did with this one. Like Andy sat in my office probably an hour as I went, well, what about this and how would this work?
The problem is we don't know our usage because we're on our own well, we don't have a meter. So when you start Googling usage, that covers 14,000 gallons. Well, how long does it take to go through 14,000 gallons?
If you put the
So
single,
we start trying to figure all that out.
with the single unit though, we do have some irrigation pet stuff coming off of that. What's your plan?
So the irrigation would come off before the treatment. So the irrigation would still be as it is today. We tap in after the irrigation, so we're not putting salt on the grass. And everything stays happy.
So you're applying this to both hot and cold?
It would be all water going into
So
everywhere on campus.
how do you not taste it?
So all of our water Dispensers have filters on.
Well house is just right over here,
Yeah, well, yeah.
that one by the wood shop,
Mhm.
and you're envisioning building on the side of it, you say?
So there's room between it and the power pole to the south to
Uh-huh.
put like a 12-foot connex right there. And then we could hook into the water system and then have enough room left in that connex for pallets of salt. So we're not dragging salt from here to there, wherever it's all. right
It's
there.
way easier to have one.
You wouldn't have salt in each little, you wouldn't have to be storing salt in every single place.
Is there, I suspect there's bigger systems, like a 20,000 gallon system,
There's, yeah,
so. Is there any disadvantage to putting? Or I guess could we get a flow meter on there somehow, so we kinda could gauge, I mean, it's winter time, we're not irrigating, so we don't know, you're not gonna run it through there anyway.
Right.
But that way you could gauge it, you know, cause you definitely don't wanna buy a 14,000 gallon if for some reason you're using 20,000 gallon,
right.
and that's a lot of water in a day, I don't suspect we're using that much, but you never know, yeah.
Well,
When
this,
we did this, we got the quote, we went through all the buildings and got every sink, every toilet, whether it was an auto flush or a tank toilet. All the washers and dryers, all the janitor sinks, cause they needed all of our fixture counts for the quote to see how much we needed to.
Oh, so they probably can gauge it for
so did you
everybody.
put it on the current or on our remodel?
That's the remodel.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
If it's
And they-
40,000 estimated for the Territon campus, how much for Hamer?
So Hamer is gonna be very similar to the ALC, that's why we highlighted that one.
6,000.
Where it'd be about a $6,000 for the unit. And then between $3,500 and $4,000, depending on how they have to hook into the plumbing. For the install, so
Do you
you'd
have a
be about
price?
$10,000 for that campus.
Okay, do you have a place to store the salt over there
Yes.
already?
Mhm.
So
We have enough room in our boiler room there, but
okay,
the system and the salt could all do.
Oh, the system would go into the boiler room
Yep.
at Hamer, not over by
If they
the,
go in, if we do separate ones, they're gonna go in the boiler rooms in these buildings. Cause that's where we have enough room that's not accessible to everyone that we can have.
but that makes more sense. The boiler room is a better option in Hamer.
Yeah.
Because the other water room, the dungeon room.
It's not as easily accessible.
No,
as
that's
in the-
difficult. That's a really
So it would
difficult.
go in the boiler room, but in Hamer. We're
So-
just around.
who would be responsible for maintaining the salt in these systems?
We would be, like, who individually,
Well,
like, just
so
maintenance?
like Hamer.
Hmm?
So is there someone that's over there regularly enough?
Yeah, Tracy, when she cleans the boiler or whatever, she can add salt or. It holds enough salt, like the one we're saying, so the one that has the 14,000 gallons of usage. It holds 150 pounds of salt in it at a time to go through that 14,000 gallons. And then you just add more.
And I would say that Hamer goes through less
There's 45.
less usage of that than what we'd see down here.
I just wonder, cause there's companies
Mm-hmm.
that can service them monthly for you, so
No, it'd just be a thing where we check it and add salt.
just add it to the list.
I know the elementary school, when I was principal in my former district. They would come in as, our district maintenance people would come in and pour the salt into that. But this is another one where this is the first time hearing it, I would understand if we were saying, hey, pump the brakes on this. I'm wondering if it's something that the boards were looking at again. The $2.2 million that we have left, and we're looking for approximately 60,000. You know, if you guys are okay with feeling good about that today, that will allow us to move forward with it. If we need more time, we can table it until the next meeting and look at it. Your time frame right now with this, if this were to be approved today, what would you do now compared to if we had a month, if they wanted some time? I just want, where are you at with that?
I would find the comments and start figuring out the logistics of how we're looking into it.
And if not, we
Because
wait.
typically you would bury it underground and bring it up in, but where I want it to be accessible. I thought, my first thought was you just throw a chute between them, insulate it, so the pipes come right through where they're really, right there, where we can touch them and do work and whatever, without making a hole and doing stuff. And then set up the system in there. But we'd have to find a heat for all that, so.
And if the board wanted to make a motion, to approve the project to not exceed, what would be your recommended amount not to exceed? Would you wanna say 70 or just to give it
70 safe,
a safe amount?
because all we're looking at above and beyond their quote is the price of a Connex. Some plumbing to get it in there, we need to insulate it, we need to put a heater in there. That kind of thing, so it's not as huge.
And if the board hasn't had enough, like if you guys are not thinking we need to have soft water, you can make a motion to table as well. If that's what you wanna do, we can wait to have more discussion.
Is there any way to meter the water before you make such a significant purchase to know that it's being used?
We can put a meter on it.
Would that run? Are those expensive?
How big a pipe?
The meter we put on our irrigation system, I think was about $5,000 to put it all in, wasn't it?
First. It's a 6-inch pipe that comes in. Yeah, you're probably 5 or less. 3 to 5, I would imagine.
Is that something that is important to know before we make the purchase, then, to know how much water we're actually using? To determine what kind of system we're buying?
Well, if they can base it off your,
So, two, like the 14,000 isn't not where it stops. It's continuous. That's why it has 2 tanks. So as you hit that 14,000 mark, and this one, it just switches over to the other one and keeps going. So then the other one has time to generate close. So it's not like you're gonna run out. It's just gonna be how much it uses.
It can take between 1 to 4 hours for the regeneration to happen. There's no way we're going through 14,000 gallons in an hour. Or 4. I don't know.
So we can solve it.
If we are, then we gotta fix the plumbing issues that are happening.
So do you think would that be a helpful one, or do you feel confident with their?
I don't know, I feel like when I had the water treatment guys come out from Advanced Water Solutions and we went through all the buildings. I think they did their research on their end, and this is why they recommended this system. We can spend the extra on a gauge and for peace of mind, I'm willing to do whatever. I just don't know if it's necessary going off of their recommendation or not.
Or can we just call a similar sized school and say, if you have a water softener, how big is your
Absolutely.
thing?
Would you like us to find out some more information and then put on a future meeting?
I would feel better about that.
So what are the types of things we wanna?
I'm curious, are other districts using softwares? Have they found it to be effective? What size of units are they using?
Well, it's not a huge cost, but using those filters in the drinking fountains and stuff, does the water softener mean we have to change those more frequently? I don't know how they work.
I think at first you would because they'd be clean.
Well, it's cleaning out the sediment that's already in there or something too.
Under your calcium buildup.
They're $88 each filters for each fountain. They're not. insignificant, But
They're not, okay.
Whether this is the right thing to do or not, after seeing the calcium buildup when that valve failed, we have to do something. Like something, and that's why we're in this process. Something has to happen. I know we could just, if the board's like, nope, I don't want to do this at all, and I don't think we have enough information one way or another to make that decision. I'm not saying that that's what you're insinuating, but something has to happen, or I'm afraid we're gonna be replacing pumps left and right at $6,000 a pop all the way throughout.
I'm worried about water issues during the break, not like you saw at the water.
Yeah,
I mean, you could have a flood and then have a bigger structure.
And if you don't catch it soon enough, then it creates a lot more issues.
That'd be very.
But where it's also not,
That's my.
say that again,
The thing that comes to my mind is the boilers, that's my biggest.
the water that goes through the water system of the boilers.
There's such a huge expense to that water is currently.
But we're also,
Aluminum.
we're also not on a time crunch on this either, like we can take another month and.
Probably don't wanna start doing this water softening until after we've turned off the boilers. So that we can have the initial not clean out, not going through the boiler, and then once we turn the boilers back on, then we're just dealing with the boiler and radiators.
Yeah, so we're good for
Yeah, we can flush the whole thing after you.
I know.
I'm a fan of it. I think there's events down the road.
With this winter, why are we even burning coal? Come on.
So you might text messages.
And gets told. Hey. Let's just go ahead and, yeah. To just table it with those questions.
The chair will entertain a motion to table moving forward with the water center project while we do a little more research.
Madam Chair, so
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Any opposed?
Wasn't that fun, guys? That was,
We made it through it.
I love that. Just giving you good information. Okay, so that's all we had. We're into 5.2.
Policy for second reading.
Second reading, Mrs. McGraw, were you able to
Yes.
identify that?
Yep, it was, I fixed it.
So this is second reading on 2340. We read through that. We had a number 4 before, and it was decided to remove number 4. And that's why it's back to the second reading. Nothing else has changed with that. And so now that this is the second reading, if you guys have not heard from any of your patrons, or if you don't have anything else to change, it's just on the table to be able to be approved, rejected, or tabled. I said tabled twice.
Is there any questions or discussion on this policy? The chair will entertain a motion to approve policy 2340 regarding controversial issues and academic freedom.
That's your excellent.
Is there a second?
You second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Williams, ready for your superintendent report.
Right. Just wanted to touch on a few things when it comes to the different goals we have here in our district. So under quality teaching and learning with our goal of the curriculum, just wanted to give an update. Our middle grades, 5 and 6, and junior high science courses. We adopted a curriculum in 2020, and we were able to do that with some of the additional money that we had from the COVID funds. The teachers, well, that subscription we had is ending here this year. And so as Mrs. Erickson has asked the teachers to look at it and say, did you like that curriculum? What would be your proposal going forward? They've liked the curriculum, but they don't love the online options, which were included in the cost initially. And they didn't love the workbooks that they had. And so they're hoping to just keep the same curriculum, but buy textbooks for the classrooms. And kind of go back to more of a paper pencil format with it. With that, we do not need approval for a new curriculum because we're not changing. It's just changing the format that it's being presented. And I just wanted to give you the update that that's what they were wanting to do. The textbooks, though it's the same publishing company and the same curriculum, they do offer it in a different method, if that makes sense. And so one of the methods that they talked about is that it's going to streamline how the science, at least the subject or the subject matter, because we have like earth science and life science and different things. It's going to touch on it and be more appropriate. I don't want to say appropriate. It matches more of what's on the ISAT, I guess you could say, and allows the teachers to be more specific on what they teach during that time. And so I don't have a final they're still in the process of what those textbooks will cost. Moving forward, when I get that, I'll re-report to the board, but I just wanted to let you know that we've been having those discussions in committee meetings. With the science, we're not changing the curriculum, it's just adapting to a different format with the same one that we have. Any questions on that?
I'm glad they like the curriculum and want to stick with it.
That's helpful because then they're not having to jump in and reinvent everything new, as the teachers have had 5 years experience teaching that. Anything else? Sometimes I get going fast, especially at the end of board meeting. It's like the horses coming back to the barn. No. The last, the second bullet on that one, counselors, just shout out to Mr. Demar and Mr. DeGraw. We had the semester end, the new quarter start. They've been working with students, making sure they have all the classes in place. So they're doing a good job with that. Couple things on the fiscal responsibility and really our discussion, not even the first bullet, but our discussion that we just had with the 521 funds, that's part of the oversight. We're very transparent with the things that we're spending, wanting to make sure that we are supporting a well-rounded quality education that reflects what the community and the district wants. But we are paying close attention to the proposed budgets that are coming out. The governor did have a proposal. On his state of the state, he mentioned that there were going to be 0 cuts to public education, but the budget shows that there might be some cuts. So we're keeping an eye on it. Just looking to see where that would be. Those cuts might be directed only towards online education. That might be where the cuts were gonna come from, because when he says public ed, everything's under the same umbrella, the online public schools and the brick and mortar public schools. And so we will be paying close attention to that, to figure out, do we need to adjust anything on our budgeting going forward? Next thing is like a day on the Hill. I know that we have had conversations as a board. That would be one way for us to be able to go over to Boise. In a way, we would attend several of the different meetings. But I know that it's just good for us to be involved and aware about that. Going back to the online schools, one of the things that we are keeping an eye on is IDLA, which is our online format that we help with a lot of our dual credit classes and additional ones. That one is getting looked at and scrutinized a little bit from potential lawmakers. And so if that one does get cut, and we're hoping it doesn't, and we're advocating that is left alone, that really could impact our ability as a school district, especially a small rural district as West Jefferson, to be able to really help kids get their associate's degree. Last year we had our first student graduate with an associate's degree, and it was largely because of the IDLA classes and the ability for the student to be able to take additional courses to be able to get there. I believe Mr. Guimar, if you remember the last time he presented, we have several others that is starting to grow with that. I've shared this already with one of our local legislatures about the difference between some of the other online schools and IDLA. And there's a different acronym. The one that came up was the IDHA, the Idaho Digital Home Academy, which is an online public school based in a different district. That one sometimes gets confused with IDLA. And I worry at times that when legislatures get over to Boise, they don't always understand exactly how schools work. And sadly, they don't believe the people that work in schools. They won't listen a lot of times to districts that are in it every single day. And a lot of it comes because there may be an agenda, maybe they looked at their party platform, read what they're supposed to cut and they just hold to it instead of really looking at what has to happen. And so we're gonna have those conversations, but again, that comes back, ties back into the funds that are here. And that we want to be able to just continue moving forward. Any thoughts or questions on that section? All right, so safe, respectful, supportive school environment. This is all in companies, but I do want to just say thank you to our janitorial staff. During the holiday season, we are short-staffed on that. Several of our ladies every other year, and I'm glad they're able to go and visit family back in their home country. But others have to pick up the slack. And this last year, we did make a change with our custodial, and we've assigned Mrs. Tafoya to be the supervisor over the custodial department. We split that responsibility from the maintenance, and she's done a wonderful job. Her ladies work hard, and they step up when some of the others were gone. I don't know if those that have been to games at the Panther Den, we work really hard to keep that clean and looking nice for people to enjoy those, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for them to come in, the time and effort to mop things, clean things. And so we're doing the very best we can to have a clean and inviting one. We do get, maybe we get used to it as well when we live here, and this is kind of what we've expected. But when you visit other schools, not saying that I hope they have clean schools too, but I would hold us right up there with any school in the state on having clean areas, especially for how old most of our buildings are. They do a great job with that. Community relations, communications. We felt that our parent meetings for athletics for parents have been positive. We feel like this has been a good step for us, being able to address problems sometimes before they start. Now, does that mean that everything's perfect with athletics? No, because I don't think it ever has been, not even back in the 90s or the 80s or there's always been passion when it comes to that. And really, we want our kids to be able to have a good experience, but it's not going to be a perfect experience. Sometimes coaches aren't perfect, and sometimes playing time, well, not sometimes, it will never be equal, and coaches have to make a tough decision. But those life experiences, and as we talk about this in our parent meetings, we are seeing a lot of parents, and I think a majority of parents really are moving to that direction to just have a positive outlook. That doesn't mean that there aren't a handful that have been disgruntled about things. And I look at that, and on a personal note, my son has sustained an injury at practice. He's done for the season, and that's a hard thing, but his team has to learn a hard lesson. He has to learn a hard lesson. That's going to happen in life sometimes. And we as a family have an opportunity to look at that and say, okay, what can we do now? And these are experiences about how are we an adult, as youth, and going to train these kids to how they're going to be as adults. And if we are always complaining and blaming and looking for just fault, that's what's going to happen as an adult, and it's not a very fun way to live. And so we're going to keep going with our parent meetings. We're going to encourage them. We're trying something new with our junior high boys. We didn't do it with the girls because we didn't have enough girls try out, really. We had we had just a few kids. We barely had 7. Remind me, Andrea, how many kids were on each team for the girls' junior high team? Like 7 or 8, maybe?
5 8th graders and 2 7th.
So you had 7 that played on the 8th grade team and 7 that played on the 7th grade team. And that's a situation for those 7 girls. Man, they probably got to play quite a bit. For our boys programs, we have about 15 kids in each grade that wanted to play. And we didn't want to make cuts, even though there were probably 7 or 8 kids that were very skilled and 7 or 8 kids that were brand new. And so we aimed for the parents and we told them an idea that our A team thought through, and with the help of Raquel Torgerson we were able to call teams like Clark County and Mackey and set up a couple different games for those boys that may not get to play. Trying to find the balance between that. We would do the same thing in the future if the girls have 15 girls that want to play. We want them to be able to experience that and decide what they want to do. Because sadly, when we get into high school, we have seen some drop in participation. And not just our district. I know of Sugar Salem's girls program only has 20 girls playing in it. And that's their high school program. And that's a team that has been going to state and winning at state. So you're going, what is going on? We're trying to figure that out. But parents have so far been supportive of this. And it was different because we had to come in and say, all kids will not play the same, but trust us, we're trying to build opportunities, especially at that young age. As kids get up into high school, when you get to varsity, guess what? Varsity is a different story than junior high. And tough decisions have to be made. Not everybody can play. So I do want to just say thank you to the parents that have stepped up and allowed these extracurricular things to be a positive thing for their kids. Any comments? I know you were there for one.
No, it's been good. It's just hard to accommodate for that many kids, and I feel like we're making the best out of a situation there. I think it's been good so far.
So far, I know winning always helps, but we'll see next month if I'm the report say, guys, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Just win them all and we don't care.
It backfired on us. But we are planning to put out a survey in a couple months. Just to look, as we're looking at the community connected to the possible funding restrictions, this is something where if we know that our enrollment and drives the attendance because we're funded off of attendance. If that goes down and continues to go down, we may have to look at like elective classes. Are we offering too many for our small school? I know there are too many that we can afford. One way that we have been able to adjust, and this is one thing that I do pride ourselves in, I'm kind of connecting fiscal responsibility back to the community because we want our small school to be able to offer as many options as possible. But we can't do it at the expense of not being able to maintain our bottom line. And the quickest way to have our reserve from general fund go down is to hire too many teachers than what we're getting funded for. That's gonna be the thing that will kill us financially faster than anything. And so we have made decisions in the past to create split level classes. Terraton Elementary is an example of that, where we've had a 3rd and 4th grade split. It hasn't been ideal, but we've survived because we have an excellent teacher in that classroom, just to be honest. She bails us out and is able to handle that. We've had student teachers that have gone in to be able to help with that. I've had students, my own kids in that classroom. But split level classes, even with small size, it's difficult for the teachers to do. I don't think we're hurting the students to have them in it, but I also think we might not be able to, we're not meeting our potential when we have that type of a classroom setting, if that makes sense. With our numbers next year, even at Terraton, there's a potential, especially our 1st grade is really small here in Terraton, and we're not generating the FTEs that we would like to see overall. There could be the discussion of, do we create a split 1st and 2nd grade in Terraton? Or do we look at other things to say, what could we do as a district? Do we need to utilize Hamer Elementary differently? And I always say, when I say this, the Hamer, doesn't make sense when it comes to funding, closing Hamer doesn't fix the problem. Because Hamer generates teachers at a different level. If we brought all of the students from Hamer to Tarleton, yes, they would fit. But we don't get extra money, we actually lose money from the state in discretionary. Because the multiplier for discretionary is based off of how many FTEs you have. And I say that a lot, people that listen kind of get it. So if we have 38 teachers right now, which we do, approximately, 3 of those teachers are at Hamer. We get our discretionary, our extra money, it's not really extra, but the extra that we do get, they multiply it off of the number 38 as a district, because they don't do it by school, they do it by district. If the, I don't know, Siri's coming into that one, but if the Hamer teachers disappeared, that really what would happen is we would lose 3 teachers because the students would come to Tarleton, and we don't change the number of teachers we have. Well, excuse me, because it goes to,
Reduce the number.
it reduces it. Then we get less in discretionary. And then we have no room in Tarleton. So it's one of those things like I am always looking at, and it's not as easy as, oh, it's old school there, close it down. It's not as easy as saying, well, just let us have 2 teachers per grade level in Tarleton, just because we always have. It's not that simple. We have 4 elective teachers at the high school. Is that something that we're gonna have to look at? Like, if our high school population goes down, can we keep that many? Especially if they're holding or cutting back. So those are things we're keeping an eye on, but we will need to put out a survey, getting parents' input, hold a couple of different meetings. But in the meantime, we want to get more information from kind of what the budgets are looking like before we start proposing different things. But I have lots of different, I don't want to say things that I want to see happen, but I have many different plans in place that could be proposed depending on the circumstance. So that's where we're at with that. And I know people are probably like, what does that mean? It really depends on that. So that's all I have, Madam Chair. Look at that.
That's a lot of good information. Great, thank you, Mr. Williams. We need to set up a day next week for our work meeting. Do you guys have a?
We're thinking the 22nd.
Okay.
That looked like the day that fit for, that accommodates everyone.
Does that mean I can show up at 11:30?
Yes, you can, no.
Yeah,
Or 7.
I still had those.
Let's go.
Yeah, you were about the 7 a.m.
All right. And what's our next regular meeting?
January 11th.
You.
I kept wanting to put that date in there. I'm like, no, I can't put it yet. 'Cause we haven't approved it.
Right? Okay. Well, that sounds great. Great. Board be open for a motion to adjourn?
I'm sure so moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Those in favor?
Wait a minute. All right.
Anyone else in favor? Any opposed?